Valley Club, don't get fooled. There are a few types of teams in Marvel Strike Force. You got your meta teams. They're the best of the best who will give you value in multiple game modes. You got your complete garbage teams that under no circumstances should you invest your hard-earned resources on. And then you got your team somewhere in the middle. They got some value and may even be required for one game mode, but you don't want to fall in the trap of over-investing in these teams. So in this video, we're talking about the biggest trap teams in all of Marvel Strike Force. And if you're ready for that, Valley Club, then you know what to do. Find that like button and let's go smash it! And welcome back, Valley Club, to the ValleyFlyin channel. I am ValleyFlyin, and I hope you are having a great day. In this video, we're going to help you from making some big mistakes. Yeah, we're going to talk about the big trap teams in Marvel Strike Force, the teams that you probably need to invest a little bit in, but do not make the big mistake of over-investing in these teams. But before we get to this list, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button for more great Marvel Strike Force content. We have at least 5 Marvel Strike Force videos on this channel per week, usually more. We got countdown videos like this, news videos, question and answer videos, everything to help your experience in Marvel Strike Force. Well, let's talk about why we are talking about this list, and that is because the requirements to unlock Apocalypse got changed. Now, they are arriving soon. This is not live in the game yet, but if you don't have Apocalypse unlocked, you may not want to invest in the Apocalypse unlock team. So instead of these mutant teams, the Unlimited, Gamma, Death Seed, and Darkhold, well, now instead of Darkhold, you're investing in Mystic teams. Instead of the Unlimited X-Men, you're investing in mutant teams. Instead of the Gamma team, now you're investing in bio teams. And instead of Death Seed, now mutant teams. So yeah, surprise, surprise, these old Horsemen teams not going to be very valuable anymore. Let's start this list off with our Horsemen teams, which got really devalued as of yesterday. So some of these characters do still have some value. Gambit still has some value as part of the Extreme X-Men. Sunfire, still a little bit of value as part of the Spotlight raids, but we will talk about them in just a little bit. And Rogue still has some value on War and Crucible defense as part of this full Unlimited X-Men team or a hybrid version of this. But Dazzler, Phantom X, not a lot of value now that you don't need these characters to unlock Apocalypse. So Rogue, Sunfire, Gambit maybe for you, but Dazzler, Phantom X, definitely not. Next Horseman team I want to discuss is the Gamma team. Now, if you are a hardcore War player, they still are involved in the War meta. There's probably still one of the top 10 War offense or defense teams, especially with the way their bonuses are. But as far as their unlock for Apocalypse, you don't need to heavily invest in these characters, especially getting that T2 level 5 ISO 8 on these characters. So Hulk, She-Hulk, Brawn, Abomination just lost a lot of value, and unless you're a hardcore War player, not a lot of reason to invest in these characters. Now, Red Hulk, leader will still have value, but the rest of this Gamma team, you probably don't need to invest in them and save your resources. Next Horseman team I want to discuss is this Death Seed team. Now, Archangel does still have some value, and you may want to put some resources into him just because the synergy that he has with Apocalypse. And when you get a big boy Apocalypse, you may still want to use Archangel. But other than that, you're not really using Archangel or this Death Seed team anywhere but War. I'm not really using them in Crucible. They're not the latest raid team and definitely not used in Arena right now. So War is where you'd invest for this team. And if you already have a solid War offense and you have your save squads for War, don't invest in Death Seed. But yeah, now you don't really need them. You still need to invest in Archangel to get that Apocalypse, but the rest of these characters, not really. You could skip them. And rounding out these Horsemen teams is the Darkhold team. Now, you still need to invest in Morgan Le Fay to get that Apocalypse unlock and that big boy Apocalypse, but no need to invest in Wong, Agatha, Strange, unless you want to. More for War and Cosmic Crucible. They're mainly placed on defense, but they do have some value on offense as well. Definitely no reason to invest in Scarlet Witch at this point, because a lot of times as the 5th, you're seeing Quicksilver there, and then when Quicksilver drops below 50% health, you're getting a free Scarlet Witch anyway. So definitely do not invest in Scarlet Witch. And unless you are serious about defense in Crucible or War, you don't really need to invest in the rest of the Darkhold outside of Morgan Le Fay. All right, now let's move on to some teams that have value in the raids that you probably need to build up for the incursion raids. But outside the incursion raids, you probably want to place your resources elsewhere. And the first team is the Bifrost team. Now, they are one of the more important teams in the incursion raids. You need them for that first section, that mystic section of the incursion raids. And Val, she does have some value outside of the raids as well. So Val, you still may want to invest in. And as far as the Apocalypse unlock, she has a Marvel Strike Force original. Previously, you could only use the other 3 original characters in Kestrel, Deathpool, or Spider Weaver, but now you could also include Val in that. You need 3 of the 4, so you could pick which one you want to heavily invest in. All is great in Dark Dimension as well, but the rest of these characters not really giving you a lot of value outside of the raids. Now, Loki does have some value, but it's more kit-based. So again, you don't really need to put a lot of resources into any of these characters outside of Val once you already build them up for the raids. Now, you do need to build them up for the raids, like I said. But once you can reliably beat the raids or are happy with your sim percentage, then stop putting resources in and put them elsewhere. Let's move on to the next raid team, and that is the Pegasus team. This one also has a Marvel Strike Force original and Kestrel. So Kestrel, you do need to build up. You still need to bring 3 out of the 4 Marvel Strike Force originals to get that Apocalypse unlock and that big boy Apocalypse. So Kestrel does still have some value and is used on a few hybrid teams in War and Crucible. But the rest of these characters, I'm using Pegasus as a pretty reliable counter to a full Infinity Watch team. And they're pretty good at countering Infinity Watch in Cosmic Crucible, but outside of that, they're pretty good in War, but you're really building them for the incursion rates. And if you're really starved of resources, this is a team that you could shift your resources once you could reliably beat or sim the tech section of the incursion raids. So yes, you need to invest in Pegasus, but once you can beat the raids, I say save your resources and put them onto other teams. And the last raid team I want to discuss is the Alpha Flight team. Now, they are billed as a raid team and a war defense team, but they're not very strong on war defense from what I hear. A 4-piece at a time without Black Knight beats these guys pretty reliably on war defense. So they're okay on war defense. You are investing in them for the spotlight raids though. And as soon as you and your alliance reach your goals in spotlight raids and can reliably beat or sim whatever you guys are doing in the spotlight raids, stop investing in the Alpha Flight. Now, I say that not knowing what the next legendary unlock is. So still try to get as many stars as you can, as many shards for, especially the new characters, North Star, Sasquatch, Guardian as possible. But as far as your resources and all your gear, your gold, your training mats, once you can beat the spotlight raids to whatever your alliance is doing, then you could probably hold off on investing in these characters and just try to get as many stars and waiting till we get the announcement of whatever the next legendary is. But this could be a big trap team if you're a hardcore war player. They're a good war defense team, but they're not top 5 meta war defense team. So keep that in mind if you're also investing in this team for war. And let's move on to the Nowhere team. They are a great war offense or defense team, and you can use them for the Black Cat unlock. However, Sinister Six is also on those nodes, so they are probably the better team to use for that Black Cat unlock. So pretty much Nowhere is just a war team. Now, Nova does have some value outside of war. I still use him in some Crucible matchups and with different tower modes, pocket dimension modes. Some characters like Nova do have some plug and play value, but Infinity War, Thor, Cosmos, Star-Lord, Annihilation, Korg, not a lot of value outside of war. I don't even recommend building them into for Dark Dimension at this point. So if you're hardcore in war, yes, you could put your resources into the Nowhere team. But if you're looking for the Black Cat unlock or use outside of war for this team, you're not going to get a lot of value. Sinister Six is the way to go for the Black Cat unlock, and only put your resources in Nowhere if you're really, really into war. And another great war team that is great in war that you're probably not investing too many resources into this team for other game modes is the New Avengers. Now, this is a team required for that Green Goblin Classic unlock. The other team needed is a Rebirth team, and they're outdated, not very good. So this is probably the primary team for the Green Goblin unlock. After you unlock Green Goblin Classic, I would hold off my resources unless you are a hardcore war player. They don't have a lot of value outside of war and outside of that Green Goblin Classic unlock. So after you unlock Green Goblin Classic, get them to the star level you want. So you could stop investing into the New Avengers unless you're really, really into war. The New Warriors are a great Cosmic Crucible team and still great on offense. Beats a lot of teams out there. But if you are not really into Cosmic Crucible, you can kind of skip this team. Now, Deathpool did get moved onto the merch for money and is a Marvel Strike Force original, so Deathpool still does have some value. Firestar and Gwenpool do have some value in Cosmic Crucible, and if you're investing in just 3 of these characters, these are the characters to invest in. You could kind of hold off on Cloak and Dagger, but if you're not really into War or Cosmic Crucible at all, you don't really need to invest in these New Warriors. They are mainly for Cosmic Crucible. And now let's talk about the cockroaches of Marvel Strike Force, the Infinity Watch. These guys are always going to have value in Cosmic Crucible, always have value in War, but I don't think this would be one of the first teams, with probably not one of the top 10 teams you should invest in. They are going to have a lot of staying power. So if you have some extra resources, this is not a bad place to invest in, but they're not meta in War or Cosmic Crucible right now. And one of the reasons they are still involved in the meta, they have a few things that are probably not going to fall off for a while. Safeguard on spawn, death proof on spawn, immunity on spawn, and a very early evade from that Nebula ultimate makes them very, very hard to kill. Yes, you could beat them with a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams that could counter Infinity Watch, but in a mode like Cosmic Crucible, where you want to try to beat teams as quick as possible, they are always going to take a lot of turns and take a lot of time to beat. So Infinity Watch, they do have value. I'm not saying don't invest at all in them. Just make sure you have your arena, your raids, and some of your other more foundational pieces for Cosmic Crucible and War built before you start investing in a team like Infinity Watch. The Secret Defenders as a whole can be a big trap team as well. Ghost Rider Robbie Reyes still has a lot of value. Black Cat still has a lot of value. And Miss Marvel Hardlight does still have some value. Not as much as she did about a month or two ago, but she still have some value. Photon, mainly a war character, shifted to the A-Force, and Doctor Strange didn't really have a lot of value. So mainly you're investing in Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes, and Black Cat, but this team fell off hard in Arena since the arrival of Old Man Logan. You're using either Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes, that is at 5th, Black Cat as that 5th, as that high levels of Arena. So not really involved in a lot of Secret Defender meta right now. They never were really involved in the raids, and you're still using them a little bit in Cosmic Crucible. They're actually pretty good in Cosmic Crucible still, pretty good in War still, but unless you're really investing in those two game modes, this is not an arena team and not a raid team, which in my opinion are the two teams that you should focus on right away. Now, if you have your arena team set up, you have your raid team set up, yes, invest in the Secret Defenders because they are probably one of the best teams that you're not using in the raids or in arena. But if you don't have your arena teams built, you don't have your raid teams built, this is kind of a luxury team at this point, except for Black Cat and Robbie, like I mentioned. And last but not least, most of the teams we mentioned here are endgame teams, mid-game teams. Well, this is something for newer players. Now, you probably do need to invest in the Wave 1 Avengers initially because they're so easy to farm, and you need a team for the early Heroes campaigns and some of the earlier campaign missions. But Wave 1 Avengers, you don't really need them anymore. Hulk, part of that Gamma team, lost a lot of value with the restructuring of the Apocalypse Unlock. Thor doesn't have a lot of value anymore. Black Widow, still a little bit on War Defense, part of that Infestation team. Hawkeye, not a lot of value. Captain America does still have some value, so you can start to invest in him. He is on an out-of-time team, which is a very strong team nowadays. And Iron Man is a member of the Illuminati. Just got that tag, just got a rework. And you may want to use him for that next legendary unlock because the devs did say that the Illuminati team would be required for the next legendary unlock. So Iron Man, Captain America, you may still want to invest in these characters, but Hulk, Thor, Black Widow, Hawkeye, you don't really need to keep investing in the Wave 1 Avengers after you get through some of these early campaign missions. So those are, in my opinion, the biggest trap teams in Marvel Strike Force. Again, these aren't trash teams, so these teams are teams that you do need to invest a little bit in at some point, but don't over-invest in these teams. Let me know down in the comments, who are your biggest trap teams in Marvel Strike Force right now? And if you got some value from this video, leave it a like. It is free for you, tremendously helps out the channel. And if you want to check out what are the best characters to take into Dark Dimension right now, check out the video up there, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day. Hulk fist bump, ValleyFlyin out.